What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everyone? Yeah, I love saying that. What?
Hi.
Man, what's going on? I feel good. Weather is nice. Like, I'm enjoying this now where you can just get up early in the morning. Well, not even early. Like, we've been getting up at like 8, 9 o'clock. And it's just like, you open the blinds up, you walk outside, and it's just like bright. I love it. Like, it's a change from the cold weather and everything. The only thing I hate is the mosquitoes.
That and the fact that we have to put the AC in soon. And that's a whole...
Yeah.
Window ACs stink to
put
it.
Well, the hot weather in general.
So, because it's starting to get, like, warm out of nowhere.
You just made the whole positiveness just go down.
But I love it.
Yeah, oh my God. So what's going on, everyone? I am your co-host, Shadell, joined by my lovely fiance.
Hey, it's Lauren.
And as always, I hope everyone has had a great weekend. I'm so looking forward for this week to speed on by here because it's Memorial Day weekend and I love a nice long weekend. Mm-hmm. Okay, don't be salty now. Don't be. I hear a lot of salt in that voice.
Some people have long weekends.
Well, shout out to everyone that has a nice 3-day weekend.
Yeah, you're all right, I guess.
The ones that don't, take off a day and enjoy it. That's all I can say. Take off a day. You work too hard. All right. Okay. Let's get into it. So it's been a lot of continued tea is what you can call this. That's what I'm calling it. So
tea.
Pretty much in the past week, we've had Tati make a video.
The continued shit story.
She continued on with her video there, kind of, I don't even know, like apologizing, easing things. I don't even know.
She wasn't apologizing.
Not apologizing, but like it shouldn't have gotten to the extreme. Maybe I don't know. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, she basically was like, "Yeah, knock it off, chill out." Like,
yeah, no one deserves this.
She never thought, and she actually thought that she would be the one getting the backlash because she's the one who put it out.
Well,
and so it went the other way, and then she was taken by surprise.
We're gonna get into that in a moment.
Whole thing.
We're gonna get into that in a moment here. And then James Charles dropped his video, his 40-minute video there. I guess that's just the time. You gotta hit over 40.
Yeah.
And then there's so many things. It's pretty much like a triangle currently because you have Jeffree Star, Tati,
Illuminati,
and James Charles. Before we get into James Charles, I just want to briefly hit Jeffree Star because before his video came out, people started saying like. They were attacking his past. Like, they dug up a video of him grabbing, like, this guy's balls and saying, these are big.
He's far from innocent.
And that's the issue, because it's like, granted, were back in, like, 2010, like, these clips and, like, these things. So? I mean, back then, it was an edgier space. I'm sure I was saying some wild stuff just to get reactions out of people on Twitter.
But were you actually grabbing a man's balls?
I would never do that in my life.
That's the difference.
I would never.
That's the difference.
I mean, as a kid, we did punch each other in the balls, but we were kids. I didn't. There was no like. What is it was always a closed fist. It was never like a grabbing hand going in. Let me.
Okay.
Let me squeeze. Okay.
It's getting real visual, real quick.
And then some kid ratted on me, and I was like, "Yo, all right.
Yep, that's what you get."
All right, we're not playing this game with you anymore. Shoot. And then he also made a song, Jeffree Star. He also made a song called "Straight Guys," supposedly.
Well,
or Straight
I don't know.
Boys.
I don't know the song, but I'm confused. Man,
how you confused? You tired? That's what you are. You want to sit here and yawn like, you tired?
Shut up. Yes, I'm tired. Anyways, so what was I gonna say now?
Yeah, because you tired.
Did I say I'm confused? I don't know. Anyways, I don't know the song. I never listened to his songs. I never really knew he existed back in MySpace days. I don't know if I was too young or whatever, but
you're not a real fan.
It wasn't my scene. The thing is, I feel like at the end of the day, James idolized him because he ended up getting Jeffree ended up getting a man who had always been straight.
Yep.
And then now they've been together like over 4 years or something like that. And it worked out for them, supposedly. We don't know what happens behind closed doors. We don't know how it actually is. But it seems like it worked out. And so I think then from the comments that he's seen Jeffree do and from seeing that relationship come from it and all this different stuff, I feel like he idolized him and wanted to have the same situation.
Yeah.
It originated with Jeffree, which is not surprising because he honestly stirs up a lot of drama.
Yeah, but it's more so he looked at it as like I guess you could say some type of role model, or like saying like, oh, that's a possibility, like putting that like idea where you see like an adult doing something and you're like, oh, okay, right. he's done it, so that has to be like a way for me to do that. Right. So I do agree there, because he like cut out a certain clip within that like 40-minute video of Jeffree Star saying, like, explaining like why he goes for that, I guess.
Yeah, he had done a video. I don't remember what video that was. I don't know. It was clearly a more serious video, but he was talking about how, like, why that's a thing in the LGBTQ community. I don't know, and I don't want to step on toes. I don't know how it works, but it all just seems like a very gray area. Because, and like, it's funny because someone had tweeted something along the lines of, because they've been throwing around that, oh, they're straight, and then they say, oh, they're bi-curious. If you're like this, it was a guy who said this. He's like, if I'm bi-curious, sure, but if I'm fully straight, I have zero interest in making out with another guy. So, like, then he's trying to prove a point that, like, all of these boys and stuff that got involved were never fully straight.
Dog, I don't understand this at all, because I'm sitting here, like, yeah, as he's sitting there, like, saying this, I'm like, where are you finding all these guys that are saying that they're actually bi, or maybe they were gay and didn't want to come out? Like, I'm so confused. It makes me feel like I'm, like, in a world where I don't know the people I'm around. So I'm like, what? Like, is that true? Is that not? Like, I'm so lost. Because the one with he's talking about the guy, Sam, for example, that, like, went over James Charles' hotel room and they, like made out and watched a movie and stuff like that. And, like, I'm assuming it's the first time that kid has done something like this. I think he said that. And it's just like, damn, like, I'm so lost right now.
And I also still question the motives. I don't know, because sure, these people could all be bi or bi-curious or however you want to label them, but at the same time, you kind of wonder if any of them are in it for the money.
Well, that's what I thought, because I briefly saw Sam's video when he first put it out, and I don't think I saw, like, clips. I don't think I even, like, saw the whole thing. And, like, one of the things was, like, after he went home, his sister talked him into, like, DMing James Charles. He didn't get into the details of why his sister talked him into it. But in my head, if a family member is telling me this, I'm thinking they know who James Charles is, and like, yo, he can, like, play nice with him. Essentially, you can get something out of this. So that's in my head what I was thinking. Yo, you got a yawning problem.
You know what?
Like, am I that boring?
Don't be so judgmental.
So that's what, man, that's what I was thinking. I really felt like I feel like a lot of these guys are just, they could be bi. I don't want to say they're not, because of course I'm not that person to say so, but I also feel like the money is the motivator in this. Whether James Charles says, like, oh, I'm a celebrity, I can get what I want, or whether he doesn't matter. Like, you have a certain position.
No, he clarified it's famous, not celebrity.
Nonetheless, he has a position, and it's just like, people are going to use that to get what they want.
Right.
So if I know, I can make out with this guy and he'll like me and we can go on a couple dates and, he'll be my boyfriend or whatever and I can get things out of this, why not? That's what I'm thinking, like, being on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. But, of course, James Charles doesn't go for black guys, so.
Honestly, I don't think black guys would go for James Charles.
I mean,
I don't think they're open to this ridiculousness.
I was gonna stay away from this one, but I don't know if you want to. I was gonna stay away from it because I'm like, I don't know any straight black guy that would go hang out with James Charles and make out with them and be like, I found out that I was bi.
Right.
Like,
well, no, I think what was happening was they would pretend they were bi or say that they were, and then end up saying, no, I'm actually straight. I think that's what was actually happening.
Probably. I can see that too.
Because they're trying to get in there.
But that's my thing.
But then at the same time, I'm confused because it sounds like he also manipulated straight guys too. So this whole thing is completely, constantly confusing.
And that's why
obviously we're not in that circle.
And that's why I found his video. I don't know. He showed you receipts.
Let's talk about the new video.
He showed you receipts of like all these text conversations, whether it was Instagram or iMessage on your phone. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to believe. Because here it goes, okay, hold up for a minute. Here we go, where he puts, like, he essentially is, like, flipping the gun back to them, back to Tati and Jeffree, where it's like, you guys said all this about me, got you guys all because I responded to literally everything that has been mentioned in the past week or two or whatever. Now what you gonna do? And okay. I couldn't find any flaws in it, but I saw certain points of that I felt he was reaching, like when he was like, "Oh, my mom's a cancer survivor."
Right,
like
he was trying with the guilt thing, just like when he was when he admits on camera how he went to such a dark place he didn't know he'd come back from, and he's like, "Wow, I can't believe I admitted that on camera," and he looked like such a robot when he said that.
Yep.
I'm sorry, like that did not seem genuine when you were like shocked you said that.
He tried pulling on heartstrings.
He really did.
Because like his brother was like depressed or whatever, so that's why he had to like go and it's like it could be true, but I don't trust him because I feel like this guy.
Well, he's gonna do anything, right? He's gonna do anything he has to get back on everyone's good side.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like when it came to receipts, sure. But at the same time, you know what's funny is the cynical part of me looks at those texts and you know how you can see like the blue part's him and there were no responses and stuff? Technically, you can go in and delete those if you really wanted and then take a screenshot and then make it look like that. So like there's that too. But also, do you really, when all this happened, are you really surprised you weren't getting responses? Like, I don't know. It's like, can you really blame the people like Tati and stuff for just not wanting to talk to you anymore? Like, I don't know. It's interesting. And he's saying, I tried reaching out, so then it's her turn and all that. And I get that, but I don't know. And then Jeffree's a whole other thing. He, like I said last week, he confuses me.
He's a mess.
He's one of those people that you just know he's always going to be involved in the drama. He's always going to be someone who stirs up the drama, has like all the dirt on you. He's one of those people that I would be terrified to befriend because as soon as anything happens, he will destroy you.
I would like to be friends with him.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing to hide.
Okay.
So if you have nothing to hide, it's cool to be with that person because you know that
still want some business to be yours. You still want like some stuff private.
But what would I see? Also, I don't know because I like having someone like that on my side. So I'm like, yo, nah, I got the weapon over here. What?
You're making me question things.
I'm just saying, if my friend was like that, yo, he's on my side. And
which I get, but
whatever I tell like a friend, I'm probably fine with it being public in whatever sense of that, whatever it means.
Okay, maybe girls are different because it's like, yeah, I tell friends stuff that I don't necessarily tell everybody.
When it gets to like personal things like my body or something like that, I'm probably not gonna freaking tell another guy that. Like I don't know what you mean. Like, I don't know what women talk about.
Life stuff, relationship stuff, physical stuff, emotional stuff, whatever.
But if it's like normal relationship things that like everyone goes through, it's like
but if you're talking in like detail or something, it's usually something you're not gonna like literally tell the world.
See, I wouldn't get into that much detail probably with my guys.
Again, yeah, I feel like it's different.
Yeah. Of course it is. That's what I'm saying. I want the weapon on my side. You don't. Like,
right.
Give me that person that I know is going to kill that.
Yeah, with him, it's like he just seems like an all-around not great person. But it's really funny because people still... With him, you kind of go back and forth. Because then there was like the Shane Dawson series trying to make him look better. And then like, I feel like with Jeffree, you go back and forth and it just depends on what controversy he's involved in and then what people try to shine light on and make him look like. And like, it's a weird, he's weird. Like, I'm like, well, you don't know what to believe when it comes to him.
My whole thing watching this also has me like, why are you still friends with this person?
Who?
Like, why is James still friends with Jeffree Star?
I don't think he is now. They are definitely. It doesn't seem like they are at all. Because Jeffree's been tweeting stuff and saying James Charles, but not tagging him.
Like
James severed ties with the merch company.
The text messages he sent where he's like, "Oh, like you're the scum of the earth" or whatever, and all this stuff. Like, I'm like, dog. I don't know. The makeup beauty community thing looks very fickle. Whether you're a fan or you're a creator in that, and it's just like
I mean, you have to remember, because if they were still friends at that point, like if James thought they were friends at that point, and Jeffree was talking that way to him, this was also in the middle of all the uproar, and everybody's trying to figure out their place in it, and everybody's trying to like do whatever they're doing, and you also have to remember, if you really thought you had a real relationship with this person and you actually cared about this person, them saying stuff like that to you, like sometimes won't necessarily make that like cut off. Like there's lots of people in toxic friendships, relationships, whatever, where it kind of takes a long time of that.
I guess I'm a different breed then.
Well, it's a complicated situation.
Like I said,
like I can feel for like I don't know, I can feel for everybody, I guess, but at the end of the day, I still feel like Tati's was more accurate. I do believe where she's coming from, and it's interesting because Jeffree comes in and then he's all like, I have receipts and I have this and that, and wait until you hear all this stuff, and then Tati's tweeting about James's video like it had half truths and lies, and she's surprised by it all. I don't know. It's all a hot mess.
And I feel like at this point,
and it's exhausting, and I'm so confused.
It's gonna confuse their fans, their supporters, and it's just gonna be like, all right, we don't care.
Well,
like,
and it's funny because, and even other people in the community who are like smaller or just not this crazy, they've been saying how you have to like stick with who you're gonna stick with, because now people are bouncing back and forth. Now it's going like, okay, people went from James to Tati, now they're going back from Tati to James after his video came out, and I'm like, you have to stick with like who you actually believe in. For me, that has been Tati.
But that's the thing.
I always believed out of these three people that she was always the best person, character wise and everything.
But there's the reason why Tati, at least from what we could tell, portrays herself as an adult, is wise, like she's smart. So like the people that could think logically about the situation would probably give her a bit more credibility, because she doesn't look like she's gonna make something up to like for herself, if that makes sense. Where for like James and Jeffree, I don't know, they've had so many things, they're fishy, and like James has the whole kids thing, so he has kids backing them. Sooner or later, these kids are going to grow up, and they're going to shift to people that are more mature if he keeps doing the same stuff.
Yeah, we'll see.
Of course, you're going to have those outliers, of course. But people grow old to that as you get older.
And it's hard. It's hard because, sure, they all make good content in their own ways, so that's what makes it hard, too. But as people, like, yeah, I feel like Tati's the best actual person with character and respect.
Yeah.
Like, versus, these two boys who, yeah, they'll just tweet anything that comes to mind. They don't care who they're insulting, care who they're blocking, like, all this stuff. Like, you say something even slightly they don't like, you're blocked. Like, and it could be the most ridiculous thing. Like, they can't, like, it's ridiculous.
Well, yeah. That's pretty much what it is with social media. You say anything to like to any one of these
that doesn't praise them.
Yeah,
and
whether
that's
it's
the thing
bad or
is
anything.
The two of them really do have big egos.
Of course.
And I know how like James tried to like acknowledge that, but I'm like,
he didn't say it. Like none of that. Nowhere in that video did he take did he like take like involvement, like he was involved in anything, and like maybe he's like maybe I
he
shouldn't.
was probably
Everything was always about like pushing it onto them or clearing it up to
and
give
that's what other people have said
more
too.
details. Nothing was like I'm like, so in this whole long like saga, you didn't do anything wrong. There wasn't like any misstep of yourself.
Maybe a couple times. I do remember him saying, like, I take responsibility, or that was my fault, or whatever. But I feel like overall, he was, he was trying to say, well, this person made me do this, and this person said this wrong, and this they
didn't give him much detail there, or like all this stuff.
And to be clear, it's like, I do agree with people who, in the past week when we haven't heard anything from James Charles, people who were saying, like, he could be a bad person and, like, you could not agree with all this stuff, but you don't wish, like, him to, die or, like, do anything rash and that kind of thing. Because, like, a part of me was like, is this all going to go so far that, he ends up killing himself?
Yeah.
And that's just, like, no one deserves that kind of thing. And I think that the internet definitely did make this a bigger thing than it had to be. And we're guilty because we're talking about it on a podcast.
Yep.
But, I don't know. But here's the reality too. Why can't people grow up and learn how to talk behind closed doors? You know what I'm saying? Because, and it's one of those that he's mad at Tati for being the original one to blast. But the amount of times that she said she tried to get through to him, I can understand fully where she's coming from, where it's like you try different methods, different ways, different timings, different ways of saying stuff, whatever. You try so many times to get through to a certain person, and it's just never going to happen. Mm-hmm. So you try something extreme, and it kind of snaps them out of shape for a little bit and makes them realize, okay, whoa. And I guess that was her method of doing it. So, like, sure, that started this whole online spiral, but at the same time, this whole community tends to do everything online. Even little disagreements turn into the biggest drama online because, like, why can't you just talk? And like, you don't have to involve the whole internet in every single little debacle.
Yeah. And I believe Tati, because again, she's an adult, so I'm gonna believe her. Where she's like, I feel like she probably has like tried talking to him and trying to like show him the light.
I believe it. I completely feel where Tati's coming from, so I completely still stand with her. I don't know, and Jeffree and James are definitely not friends anymore. I thought it was interesting how he's saying, "Oh, and I still want those relationships and whatever." You're done. You're done. Especially with Tati. She was very firm that she does not want to be friends with you, period. And you need to respect that because you are a toxic person.
Yeah.
And she can have an end point. There's only so much you can do with people like that. So with her, and then with Jeffree, forget it, because he's just going to end all this. He's going to continue it, and whatever he's going to put out, and it's going to like get even more dramatic. And so like I think they all have to move on in their own ways. I
feel like we've all are going to move on from this. Like, whether Tati and Jeffree talk about this again, it's just like, we don't know who to believe. From the outside looking in,
it's becoming too much because everyone has their own information.
Yeah. So,
and of course everybody's going to make themselves look better. So
depending on what happens, because of course we're recording this a few days before it drops on Tuesday. If something happens where Jeffree comes out and drops like his video explaining whatever, or Tati comes out, I think she drops videos Monday, Wednesday, something like that. No,
but she was saying how she's gone.
Oh yeah, she's taking a little break.
Yeah, she's traveled somewhere, and she's not doing it right now.
Man, it must be nice to travel somewhere.
I mean, babe, the money these people have.
Supposedly, this is slightly off topic. Supposedly, she made like close to $20 million like during this whole like thing off her brand.
Wait, the Halo Beauty?
Yeah. Supposedly. It's rumored.
Low-key, I wanted to get some.
Low-key, that's what probably people did.
One, I would need to check with my doctor. And two, I take so many supplements already. But And I had wanted to actually try hers last year when it came out, but I was like at that point I was still doing all my health stuff.
Yeah.
But I've actually seen like a friend of mine who I used to work at Ulta with. She has been taking them for a while, and she showed like even a week's difference of her face, which was like flared up with acne and redness and stuff, and then like even a week later it was so much clearer and so much fresher.
Yeah, don't tell
and
me what's a good
like
time.
even Shane Dawson, he did
Yeah,
a
I saw
before and
that.
after. Like, and I like how his before and after was authentic. Okay, it was the same angles, the same lighting, with flash, without flash. Like he actually had real before and afters too.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to BS it and like Photoshop it and whatever. So like it legitimately looks good, but yeah, oh my god, $20 million. Oh my god. Yeah, you could literally go on an extended vacation for however you feel like. Like she can, go on her month or two retreat to get her mental wellness in check, but meanwhile I'll have to push through and work.
Pretty much.
So yeah, no, so I still stand with her. I still mostly believe her. I get everybody has their places and everybody has a right to kind of feel upset in this situation, and it has gone too far, and people just need to again like learn how to talk to each other behind closed doors.
Yep.
It's kind of funny because you'll see YouTubers a lot of times they'll be like, oh, we're taking over, we're like, we should be recognized as celebrities too, blah blah blah, all this stuff. But what's funny is you look at actual celebrities, and sure, they have some debacles and some little things. Nothing ever blows up like this because actual celebrities have like maybe better PR, better management, better whatever, and they also are maybe kept in check a little bit more.
Yeah, I can see
And
that,
so
actually.
it's because think about it. We're all normal people, sure, even celebrities, but I think celebrities are at this status where it's kind of like, do not mess this up.
The one I can think of that's probably out there is Kanye and Drake, because it's kind of similar. But it's like, Drake does it like subliminally, like right off a song, and like you wouldn't know.
I feel like
unless
nothing's been like this in celebrity world.
Kanye has gone on massive tweet rants, like subbing Drake. So
I don't know. So versus like YouTubers, sure they have management and whatever because they're big YouTubers, but at the same time, I feel like they're more human, I guess, because they're still.
I want to say they're more
like
human.
No, they're more like us versus celebrities than they think. It's hard to explain. Like it's because they're still more, I think, in control of their image and what they do. Versus a celebrity, like I said, is kind of told how to behave and what to do most of the time.
Yeah, because they have a lot more people like to feed, like their families, the people that work for them, and their families. Like it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot more that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to like focus on like everything you're doing. So it's like, yeah, let's have a conversation and behind closed doors so we can get this settled and not like ruin my image or ruin yours or whatever, because it's not that big of a deal. We're just here to get money. I don't know. On to a more serious topic, which is...
We'll see if we have an update next week. I don't know how this is going to
go. But yeah, on to this more serious topic, which is this like whole abortion ban.
He's just going into it. He just said it. Wow.
Well, Alabama just went right into it. So currently I'm looking at a...
So we're talking about a real light topic here, guys. That was sarcasm.
Yeah. Because Alabama does not want it to be an easy thing to handle, clearly. So, I'm from. I don't really have much to say to this because it's really just you.
You're a man.
Yeah, obviously. So I'm gonna go through this. I'm looking at New York Times. They have like an interactive like map, and they go into like a lot of details about this and like the states that are like passing bills or pending bills, all this stuff. You're gonna have to break this down for me because I don't really understand it too much. Also,
what am I breaking down?
Well, okay. So if you don't know, Alabama, for example, passed their bill where it just outright just bans abortion. Like literally, abortions are not happening in Alabama unless the mother is going to die. Which, of course, that is not right.
Wait, so they do approve. Okay, let's get all the details correct. So you're saying they do approve if it's, say, like an ectopic pregnancy or like a dangerous pregnancy, then they will do it legally?
If the mother is going to die, they will abort the baby.
That's important. I feel like that's important to put, because I think I saw some places that apparently don't even want to do that.
We'll get there.
Okay.
All right. Well,
so I'm trying to just get all the details right.
So this is a chart that New York Times has that I'm showing you here. So Alabama, it's all the way at the first week. Like, it gives you weeks since last period and all that stuff. Yeah. So like theirs is like all the way there. Like it's not happening. Like unless you're gonna die from having
before
this baby.
Before you can even finish cleaning up, it's already too late.
And this one, I don't agree with. I know.
Wait. Question: what? Does this include Plan B?
Huh?
Do they see Plan B as an abortion pill?
I mean, I don't know. They probably don't sell it in Alabama.
Because you know how, like, some people will say that, like, you can take Plan B within like 3 days or something like that to try and prevent an unwanted pregnancy. Say you like skipped your birth control or were assaulted or whatever. And I feel like if they're all the way to the very beginning, I wonder if then that includes something like that.
This article does not say it. You gotta have someone, email us or reach out that lives in Alabama if we have anyone in
BS.
there.
If it's,
I would imagine they probably don't have that. Like, point is, no abortions. Nothing to stop it. Unless you're using a condom.
It's totally not an abortion.
Unless you're using a condom, we ain't stopping it. Or birth control, I guess. If they do that in Alabama. I don't know.
I would assume they still do.
So, period. Like, nothing's happening in Alabama. Now, Missouri passed a bill Friday to ban abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected.
Isn't that like within a couple weeks?
Yep, that's what this is breaking down here. So it looks like about 6 weeks is when, like, pretty much when that heartbeat is. So my issue with all this is, like, for mainly Alabama, we'll start there. So if my daughter, I'm going to put in the sense of my daughter here, if we have a kid and we live in Alabama and, God forbid, they get raped or whatever could happen, they're supposed to have that kid? Like, what? And I saw someone's, I was on Twitter, and some girl was, like, heavy on this because it happened to her where she was raped and, like, she was able to have the baby aborted. And, like, that's why she pushes for being, having the right for abortion. And I'm like, that is so sad that that's not even, like, an option. Or like incest, where it's like you have no choice, and sadly, it's disgusting. A family member did this to you. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, the fact that those two things aren't things that like are acceptable options in Alabama's eyes, where this choice was made. So if you don't know, this choice was made by I think 20, 30 white guys.
White men. And
then signed off by the governor of Alabama, which was an older white woman. I'm like, what? What? And it doesn't really surprise me with these down south states. Like, no offense to the people that live there. It doesn't surprise me.
See you guys if you were listening to us from down south.
But that's why, I don't go
now
down.
They're like, screw you.
But that's why I don't go down south, because I feel like they're so backwards. Granted, up here, we're not that great. Listen to what I'm saying.
My God.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You are stereotyping and grouping people together.
Like I said, what state was it? Was it Alabama? There was some state down south a few years ago, like I was telling you, that was trying to push for segregation. Like I said, I'm not going to Alabama, Kentucky, Missouri, like all those places that I don't feel welcomed. Outside of Atlanta, Georgia, I'm not going anywhere there.
Right.
I don't feel safe. If we have to take a road trip and we're going to Florida, we staying in the car the whole time. Like, that's not happening. Like,
oh my gosh,
I don't feel safe in these places. They're so backwards. Nothing against the people that aren't, but the people that have like this one-track mind.
Going like a whole other way.
It's not going another. It's not going another way. But these people that have this like one-track mind, where it's like, you can't have a baby. You can't, drink from the same water fountain if you're black or another minority or.
Was it really gonna go back to that?
I mean, we don't know, but that's what they were trying to pass.
Huh. Why?
Like, I mean,
I saw a tweet recently. It was a good one. It said, "History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes."
But it what?
But it rhymes.
I don't get what that
like
means.
a rhyme, like red and dead, like, so it's similar,
Yeah.
but like it doesn't necessarily, it's not the exact same, but it was a good one.
And
So,
also,
that's what it reminds
my
me.
next thing is, if, oh man, I think the people that pushed us, were they Republicans?
Yeah, probably, because that's the whole thing is,
So
Republicans have always been known for being more conservative
I don't think I have this on my phone.
and for being more
Shoot.
religious and all that stuff. Although, I thought the government and religion weren't supposed to mix, but okay.
Shoot, yeah, I had a picture on my phone, and it broke it down where it's like, you don't want us to have abortions, then okay, you should give us more maternity leave. I think something about like more Planned Parenthood or something like that. Like there's so many things that like, okay, give us all this stuff if this is what option you're gonna like pretty much force us into.
Okay, so there's some serious ones, screenshots, and then like a little funnier that I have. One is, it's a doctor, and he tweeted, "So if I perform an abortion for a woman who was raped in Alabama, I would go to jail for many more years than the rapist himself. Cool, cool, cool. Makes sense. Not insane at all."
So stupid.
Someone said, "Y'all don't want us to have birth control or abortions, but God forbid we whip a titty out to feed the baby you wanted us to push out."
Yup.
Was that it? That was the one?
No, it's not it. But
Oh.
that's a classic point.
Like, but Victoria's Secret's okay. But if I'm feeding my baby in public,
You're so
woo!
pro-life, but I can't sit here and
Woo!
give life to my kid that
Ooh.
you wanted me to have.
This one. Men should probably realize that if you knock up a woman who doesn't want it and she's already going to jail for the rest of her life for an abortion, there's absolutely zero incentive left not to murder your ass first. That's basically a BOGO sale, and we live for that shit.
Oh man.
I'm like, oh, okay. This one I thought was good. Being pro-choice literally means choice. Many pro-choice women will never get an abortion and couldn't even imagine it, and personally disagree, but we respect that sometimes it's the right choice and it isn't up to us to control someone else's body. So this is where I'm going to take over.
Okay.
Because I thought that was a good tweet. So I was always raised to be pro-life. My mom was big on it, and yeah, we just kind of became the same, me and my sister. You know, and looking back, it's interesting because as all this stuff develops, she had the kind of information that people have as like the baseline like defenses as to why to be pro-life. Like general stuff that makes general sense, like it's a life and it's a baby, why it's murder, why would you do that, all this stuff. And so like it made sense, right?
Yeah.
But you know, and as I've grown, here's the thing, as things have happened and I have grown, I honestly don't know what to label myself, if that makes sense, because I feel like I don't fit into a label right now because I feel like I'm in this weird like shift. So I'm still pro-life in the sense that this is tricky for me. I don't condone like unnecessary abortions or people who use it as birth control or you know, people who just straight up don't give a damn like about life period, like at all people, like what so I guess that makes sense. But then I get it because yeah, if you're raped or incest or it's risk pregnancy, you're gonna die and like all that stuff, I get that stuff. And I feel like, so that tweet resonated with me because I feel like maybe that's where I am, is a choice of I'm one of those women who doesn't really agree with it as much, and I myself would never want to get one, and hope that I'd never be in a predicament where I have to or feel swayed. But I also understand that like we're talking about women's rights. We're talking about, you know, dangerous things, like stuff that's getting taken away from us. and putting our lives in danger, because everyone's talking about how that's great. You banned abortion. You banned safe abortion. Because these things are never going to stop happening.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Look at weed, for example. Weed's never going away. You still haven't legalized it, but it's still very prominent. So it's not going to go away, even if it's going to continue to be illegal. It's the same thing. So now we're just going to have unsafe abortions that end up killing the person, too, because it's going to be in the back alley or whatever, you know? And so I don't think that's right. So I do think it is kind of a part of healthcare where, yeah, I mean, it's a procedure, and this is a very delicate topic for me. I don't know, because I don't completely agree with it. I don't. And like, I feel like uneasy talking about abortions and being like super open. But at the same time, I get that if it's like medically necessary or something, you know, like it's a tricky one for me. And I feel like I'm one of those people that women will like come for, even though I'm like somewhere in the middle. I'm not totally like being like, you're a terrible person and blah blah blah, but like it's delicate for me. I almost feel nervous talking about it.
Here's what I don't get, because of course I'm a guy here, but I never understood where you have to be on one side or the other, because it's literally it's gray. It's not a black or white thing, because it's really like depending on whatever situation you are in.
Right, but I think that's why, again, that tweet was kind of perfect. It's kind of, in a sense, then, if you're not one way or the other, you still kind of are pro-choice, then, is what they're trying to say. Is you're giving a choice. You may not agree with it, and you may never do it yourself, but you're giving a choice.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like maybe that's the way I'm leaning, but I also am hesitant to label myself that, if that makes sense. Like, because, again, all I've ever known was being labeled as pro-life. So I feel weird. It's a very it's a touchy subject for me, and there's a lot of layers that go back to why, and there's a lot of things that I can't talk about, but like I don't know.
I get it,
but I am, at the same time, I am, very pro-woman, feminist. I'm very for women's rights. So like that's the part that really burns me up, is that why is the government in complete control of this now? Why are we being stripped of stuff we worked so hard for? Because just like you said, it looks like the South is going towards segregation again. Well, what did we work so hard for from the 50s as women to get? Because there was a time when we couldn't have birth control. Is that going to be the next thing? Like, that's what's scary here. And I'll go back to like I was saying about like Plan B, for example, like someone like me, okay? If I was like fully pro-life, then I would be against Plan B. But I never was against Plan B, because fully pro-lifers of, people who are like from conception, from like the moment you're done, like it's a life. Plan B is a problem because you're basically, you're making the uterus a harsh place, and you're the one that's controlling that it's not going to survive versus God. That's the whole idea. Mm-hmm. But for me, I always thought Plan B was a viable option if I ever needed it. Like, for example, if you do end up getting raped and you're strong enough to, go to the hospital or something afterwards, because I know that's an awful thing to have to go through. But like they can give it to you there, mm-hmm. so that you're good and you don't have to worry about the possibility. But then a lot of women, it is a tough situation where they're scared to go to a hospital or a police station or whatever right after it happens, because you feel dirty and you feel scared and whatever. So, but I don't know. I've always thought too, if it was a dangerous pregnancy, then obviously I feel like that's never a question, because you're literally going to die. Like if it's literally, there are pregnancies where you literally are going to die if you do not stop it. And there's these people that, again, extreme pro-lifers who are like, all right, well then that's God's will. And I'm like, yeah, okay, like that's scary. Like, so what? You're telling me I have to die? That's it? Like, I'm done? Like, I don't know. Because, again, you're pro-life, aren't you? My life is actually in danger. I'm a life. You know? Like, and that's the thing, too, is people are always against pro-lifers because they're like, you care about the pregnancy, not about what happens to the kid once they're actually here and alive. Mm-hmm. Because then it's like, oh, screw it if they're in the system.
That's my issue.
And that kind of thing. And I get that too. Because, for example, if you're assaulted and you don't want the baby and you want to put it up for adoption, they care more that the baby's alive in the world rather than in a terrible system, overpopulated system where they're not going to get the right care.
Yep, and at some point they go and do something harmful to somewhere else because they don't feel loved or they don't feel accepted,
right, and then
or
it's
whatever.
A vicious cycle because this kid may actually end up having a horrific life.
Yep.
And so I'm very much in the middle now. I don't know. I go back and forth. And I can see stuff on both sides. And I can also see how, yes, people who are pro-choice doesn't mean that they are against life. You know, I can see how there are pro-choice people who have always been proud to declare themselves that, who, they still want, like, you know, a lot of people have good pregnancies and whatever, but I think that's what it boils down to is the rights and just how... It's scary. It's scary to not have the, like there's people that are super against Planned Parenthood. And I used to be. That was me. I used to be like super against Planned Parenthood. And like, yeah, we should shut them all down. They're not good because they're abortion factories. That's what I was made to believe.
Wow.
Wow. But what people didn't tell me, well, other people ended up telling me, wow. How there's so much more than that. Abortions are a small percentage of what Planned Parenthood does. And, they're there for free education and condoms and checkups and all that stuff, like amazing stuff.
Just
and
so
I'm like,
and make sure you're safe.
Right. I'm like, so then I had changed my mind about that. So I'm very much a person that's open to growth and learning. And I'm not one of those that's like, okay, I labeled myself this 10, 15, 20 years ago, so that means that's me for the rest of my life. I'm very much a person that I think it's okay to change your opinions and your mind and stuff like that. I'm also the kind of person that I don't think we should really judge who believes in what, though, either. Because I feel like that's what I faced a lot of, was people would come at me for being too pro-life. And it's one of those delicate fine lines that it's like, it's kind of like politics. If I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican, like, we can still get along. We don't have to argue about this. We don't have to manipulate the other to believe our beliefs. Like, we can just be people.
I don't know. If I had a choice, it would totally be pro-life, because it's like it's also
pro-choice.
Pro-choice. Goddamn. Because also it's
let me catch you there.
Like I'm. I never understood this, where we're so like heavy on pushing people to like, it's like be a certain thing. Like when it comes to being gay or lesbian, it's like, oh no, you can't be that. You can't do this. Like, it's like
right.
What in what way does it affect my life whether you have a kid or does not have a kid? Whether you choose to be gay or not choose to be gay?
And
like all this, like,
and that's where again, like I'm saying though, like, when I was much more on that pro-life side, though, I feel like people need to be kind because, again, I'm one of those people that can be open to other opinions and stuff. But give me time to come to my own conclusions.
Okay, I'm gonna play the other side here. I don't know how open you are.
True.
So I'm sitting here trying to give you.
I'm more so talking about, like, say, like, you talk to an acquaintance, a friend, or whoever, like, and you're just trying to talk, like you're friendly or whatever, and I'm not really talking about strangers as much, because you know how, like, okay, family, especially like family, friends, whoever, if they're real close, those are usually the people who can try and like actually influence you more.
It's tough though, because I'm not even a girl, and if my sister was telling me that she's like pro-life and that, like, no, girls should have to have the kid, I'm gonna look at that a certain way, because I'm gonna be like, yo, who are you to tell another woman that she's forced to have another kid.
Right.
Like, you don't, no matter what she's going through, she has to have that kid. Like, no, I don't feel you're right. I feel like people are passionate about the pro-choice side because that's not right.
And it's funny because someone I used to know through someone, she had an abortion before I knew her. And I was never super close with her, but we were friendly and whatever. And this was back, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. And like I found that out, and it was one of those where the person more involved with me didn't know how I would react. But I've always been that type of person who, like, I'm not going to be a dick to you, like even back then when I was still more towards the pro-life choice, what am I going to do? One, it's done. And two, it's not like, you're not me. I always had that intelligence to know, like, this, you're not my life. Like, I can say that I more so agree with pro-life or whatever, but you're not me. And so I'm also not going to, like, shame you or, like, do these things that extreme pro-lifers do, like, get in your face and be like, you're an awful person for what you did. Like, the people who stand out Planned Parenthood and, like, have banners and, like, scream at you for walking out. And, like, so, like, that I always thought was just messed up. It's like people who are religious and they take it to another level and it's messed up. Like, that's not what it's about. So I didn't, I was just like, all right, that's fine. Like, she told me and I was like, okay. Like, I didn't really talk about it because it was uncomfortable. I didn't want to talk about it.
It's a touchy topic for even that person that had to go through it.
Pretty much. Like,
it's not, like, that's also the thing. Like, it's not like that person, there's a reason they had to give up that baby. Like, other than you probably have the few that do it because it's like their birth control method, which is not right.
Didn't work
but
or whatever.
Normally, if someone's doing that, there's a reason to it. They thought about this. It hurts them just probably as much as it hurt you, most likely more.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's touchy.
Yeah. So basically, like, that's where I stand. I'm somewhere dancing in the middle, and I can understand both sides. I just think kindness is warranted on both sides, understanding, remembering we're all people. And yeah, it just that women rights are very important. Rights for people are important in general, and we shouldn't be going backwards. We shouldn't be putting more people in danger. And so that's where I stand.
All right.
With my uterus and my opinion. Because as everyone says, you can't have an opinion, sir. I mean, no uterus, no opinion.
Whatever. I don't care. The next thing I want to touch on, which we can do briefly, whatever you want, is, I guess you could say, like, the next part of this. So if you're not familiar, colleges, they're looking to push an adversity score to grade students, like, grade their background. They're already doing this in 50 colleges now. They want to bring this to 150 colleges, I believe, by the end of this year, I'd like to say. Essentially, what this whole adversity score does, it's from a scale to 1 to 100. This is how they're going to rate their kids, and, like, it's like a different way of, like, grading them outside of the SAT.
So, like, they do this in high school?
Well, this is them for college.
Right. Is it, like, part of their application?
Probably. It'd probably be like a questionnaire they have to fill out or something.
Uh-oh.
But they're essentially, this is looking at their neighborhood, so, like, where they live at, their family as for, like, do they have one parent? Do they have both parents? Like, what that environment is. Is this a part
of how they get into the school, or is this a part of who they get roomed with?
No, it's how they get a part of the school. Because this is supposedly, this may get rid of the SAT at some point.
Are you kidding me?
At some point, I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like from what I was reading.
What else is there?
They're going to be looking at the school the person came from, the crime rate in that area, the poverty rate, the median income. I already said the raised by a single parent thing there, and is English a second language.
So is this like another form of gentrification?
What do you mean by that?
Like where they're basically gonna pool people of different statuses? Like, oh, you were richer and you went to a nicer school, so you get to come to this one. Or you were in a high crime neighborhood and you're this, you're going to go over here.
No, I don't think that.
Because that would be really messed up.
No.
That's what it sounds like.
No. When you're taking your... First off, it's called an adversity score.
All right, then I'm not getting this.
It
sounds like segregation.
They can't go through race. They can't look at you by your race.
Okay,
so looking at you through all this range.
It's still kind of... It's still kind of...
You're looking at it... No, keep what you're thinking, because I didn't think about this in that way. But in my head, I'm thinking, you're looking at all these things. That's great for... I wouldn't even say someone like me, but someone that doesn't have... Someone that, let's say, a black kid, lives with his mom, is in, like, not the greatest area, and, you know, didn't go to the greatest school... There's a high rate of crime in the area that he lives in, like all this stuff. They're looking at this stuff as like a positive, as like this person, like along with their SAT scores or whatever else they're looking at, like they're doing good in school, and this is like their background. So this is their person, and we should probably give this person a shot because, hey, look.
So you're saying to place that with someone who's like opposite of that living situation.
I mean, I don't know. You're talking about some placement thing. I'm talking about just getting accepted into the school.
Yeah. That's what I mean, like into the school.
The way you took it, I didn't think about this, where it could be looked at as, okay, this person came from this rich neighborhood, you know, has his mom, dad, has this many sisters, whatever, brothers, all that stuff. They, you know, this person has older brothers and sisters that went through college, family that went to college, no high crime rate. So you took it a different way, which I wasn't thinking, because I looked at this as in you being on like the lower income scale and this being a great thing for you, but I see how it can be used for bad.
Right. I feel like it's another gray area. It's another fine line. It's like it could be used really well, or it could be used to like segregate essentially and be like all like the poor people can be over here and all the rich people can be at this school and like that kind of thing, and continue the pattern of limiting this person's abilities or progression forward simply because they don't have enough money or they had a high crime rate or all this stuff, which I don't think is right. I think everyone should be given an equal chance. I think this is asking stuff like that, I think, is dangerous because it's kind of similar to like on an interview. I'm pretty sure
you have to stay away from certain things.
They can't ask you why you were fired from a job. They can't ask you technically how much you made, which is really interesting because a lot of applications go against this stuff. But I think, like technically, there's certain things that they shouldn't be asking you.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things. You're on a job interview and say like they ask you something personal, you're gonna feel stressed and like you should answer it because you want to get the job.
Yeah,
but they shouldn't be doing that. And they could technically be trying to like weed out like, well, if they say this. So like, I feel like it's a dangerous area to get in, to get that personal about like finances and where I live and like that stuff. I'm like, because in the end they could probably find all that stuff out anyway. But
of course,
but I think that shouldn't be part of your application. Like this is part of my, this is part of why I would get in or not.
Yeah.
No, that's based on how good are you in school and, will you fit this major and are you going to be a good fit at this school with these majors and stuff. Like, that's it. Like, it should just be based on, can this school help you become the best you? That's it. Like, and so if that's someone who, had a harder life, great. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, like maybe they're not good enough for this school kind of thing,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I worry that that's a fine line to dance on.
I didn't think about that because every like all the news outlets that I've read this from, it's painted as like a good thing.
Well, of course it is.
Shut up. And I'm like,
that's the news.
I didn't think about that.
That's the media. They're going to paint it however they want you to see it.
I guess we'll see how this plays out as it rolls into other schools. Because supposedly with them trying it in 50 schools currently, it's worked out. So that's why they're bringing it some more.
We'll see. I mean, it could work out, but I don't know. I worry with stuff like that.
Because that's pretty helpful where it's like, you're not just basing me on, like, for example, I suck at school. But if you would talk to me in person, we can have like a real conversation. Like, you'd be like, oh, this kid's pretty, like, he knows what he's talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's usually when there's like an interview process and stuff. They do that already with like colleges.
I wouldn't know.
So
I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I'm curious to see how this plays out because I want to know if that does work, like specifically for the lower income people. And I feel like I think their idea is to push for lower income people to give them a chance.
You know what? Maybe, especially in light of the stuff that's happened, in the media with people pay like, oh, I'm rich, which means that I should have an advantage.
We want everyone to have a
versus
fair chance.
Right. We could see it the other way that, you're not better than anybody because you have money. That it should be based on, academics and whatever. So I don't know. It could go either way. Man. I don't know.
All right. So, as always, we're going to get into this relationship advice here. This one's a little juicy because I feel like we've gone through this in the past. Maybe I'm wrong. You can probably tell me I'm wrong. I feel like I'm a slightly bit wrong here.
Okay.
So it goes off by this guy saying, my girlfriend is picking a fight over what I sent her for her birthday. So to give you some idea on age, he is 22, she is 21. He goes to say, so I sent my long-distance girlfriend over 2 years a birthday present the other day. Her birthday is on Monday, and I sent it to her on Thursday. She got it yesterday and opened it and didn't seem too happy about it. I sent her a card with a pretty expensive present, and he puts in parentheses, it was a Pandora bracelet and charm. He says, she said she was happy about the bracelet, but not about my card. I picked out what I thought was a nice card and wrote, "Happy birthday, beautiful. I love you so much, and I hope you have a great day." After she got the card, she told me she told me it wasn't affectionate, and sentimental enough. She always tells me she doesn't like sentimental presents. I reminded her.
Wait. I'm confused. She said it wasn't sentimental enough, but then she doesn't like.
I guess so. I guess so.
Okay, that's not confusing at all.
He goes on to say, I reminded her, and she said, well, I don't like sentimental gifts. And if I'm with you, but if I'm with you, but when we are not together, I like them. What? I guess they lived together for a year. Okay.
So when they're literally physically not together, then it means more to her.
What?
Because they're not together, and so she likes to get all sentimental and stuff, maybe? I don't know.
Wait, no. No, when they are together. Wait.
I thought you said when they're not.
She says, I reminded her, and she said, well, I don't like sentimental gifts if I'm with you.
Yes, exactly. So when they're apart, she likes them more.
Oh, yeah.
Because then he's not there and she's trying to be more like lovey-dovey and stuff.
Okay. He goes on to say, anyways, we kind of dropped it after that.
That's weird, though.
Today, she got into a fight and she brought it up again. Of course. They always bring it up again.
You know what? You need to shut your mouth, sir.
She told me her second grade crush wrote her a better letter.
Seriously?
Than I did.
A second grade? And what? Why is he even there?
And that she's going to throw it out. Oh my God! Oh, he's done. She told me
You'd be like, whatever.
She told me she's going to return my present and send me the money. I told her it's ridiculous, and she's acting like this over what I sent her because she didn't send me anything at all for my birthday. He puts in parentheses. It was pretty complicated back then. I didn't expect a present, but I thought she would send me a card at least. Anyways. I feel like she's acting very ridiculous about this. She hung up on me, and we didn't talk for the rest of the night. Is she acting ridiculous, or should I have done more?
Okay, I have things to say about it, but dare I say that this is childish, and I honestly don't think they should be together. it sounds like, because then what was complicated and she didn't send you one and then she wants to return it and she wants to do that. I've seen stuff like this and it just ends up not being great. Like, I just feel like this sounds petty and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it literally sounds like they're just not great.
For you to be like, you only like gifts at a certain
like
time, whether
level.
I'm with you or not with you, I'm like, what? What?
The whole, I mean, okay, to a degree, I guess I get that because...
No, I don't.
Hold on, because it's the whole absence makes the heart grow fonder thing, and you want to be with the person, but you can't be right now. So
you're
then
gonna get mad at me?
Hold on. So you want something like, I don't know, to remind you of loviness and all this. Like, I get that, I guess. If you're apart from them, it's a little more. But at the same time, I'm one of those people, I love sentimental stuff all the time. Like, you could literally give me something on a Thursday that's sentimental and it's not a holiday and I'll love it. Like, I don't change it up. Like, so I feel like that's weird that it changes up. And then, as far as that, I don't know what the card said. I mean, yeah, there's
he said what it said.
Yes, what he said. There's technically cards that say, yes, they're more like lovey and there's more funny and there's more, like, I get that.
Yeah.
But... there's something here happening is what I'll say, because, okay, sir, first of all, so you saying, oh, I feel like we've been through this before. I think what you're referencing is a couple of years ago, my birthday, when you had to give me the gifts a few days prior because we went to the wedding. Is that what you're referencing? Because in my mind, that's what pops up.
No, I feel like there's a time in the past where I gave you a gift and you didn't like what I gave. Yeah, there was a time a couple years ago.
It was, I feel like it was that one because it was a whole, all right, we were in a mess at that point, let's be honest. Like, we were just not in a good place. So everything kind of escalated it. We had to go to the wedding on my birthday. I already wasn't happy about that. And I'm one of those people, like, I want to enjoy my birthday. I want, like, people to, like, make it a thing. And, like, I want to, like, have a fun day and just for once have it be about me kind of thing. Like, I'm that person. And like, there's people that literally have birthday months, okay? So I'm not that bad if I just want my day.
Women.
So yeah, it was a few days prior. We had to travel. So he had brought me home stuff. I don't think it was the fact that the stuff was bad that year. I think it was...
You were salty?
It was the whole vibe. It was salty. Everything. You know, and it ended up being... And this is something we had went over in therapy.
Yeah.
If we want to get real personal.
Yeah.
This
a lot
was...
Of salt.
Stop. There was something... how... God, you're making me lose my train of thought.
Yeah. Must be all that
like, because he woke up the day of my birthday, which was also the day of the wedding. And to me at that time, he didn't say happy birthday fast enough. It sounds really ridiculous admitting it. But this was something that triggered me just based on, one, how I grew up, and two, again, like, I simply wanted to just still be more acknowledged that day. But he was distracted because he had to go and get ready for a wedding. So, like, looking back, it's like, I get it. But it was a thing that, like, whole weekend kind of thing. So it wasn't necessarily that the gift was bad, because I remember you got me, that was when I had recently gone, like, gluten and dairy free. Yeah, and you got me the awesome cupcakes and stuff, and it was fine.
Tell me about it.
But yeah, so, like, there's an example of, sure, we had deeper stuff going on. Like, it was just a time when we were not in a good place, and so everything else was kind of escalating stuff and making stuff worse. And a lot of people go through that. A lot of people don't make it to the other side because it takes a hell of a lot of work, and it still takes work. And it's one of those things. For them... Again, surface level sounds like they shouldn't be together. I can't flat out say, because I'm sure there's tons of people who were rooting for us to not be together. But, you know, so it's...
Wait, who's rooting?
No, I'm saying, like, because, you know, if we told people stuff and we would, you know, like, if we tell our friends things, like, there's one friend... And I don't want to say who it is. She's like a middle friend where it's like you're not like acquaintances, but you're also not like best friends. And I feel awkward around her sometimes now that we're engaged because I like we had talked about stuff and she basically was kind of on the team of maybe this isn't the best for you. Maybe you should move on kind of thing. And now that we're engaged, I feel awkward. Like it's kind of like, do you still remember that? Like, are you like against this? Like it's weird. But you know, so I feel like because again, you tell when you're talking to friends or family about what's going on in your relationship, you tell a very specific portion. You're not like telling the whole progression. You're not telling the whole backstory or like you're also biased. You're telling like what the other person did more wrong.
A lot of details out.
You know what? You need to stop. You need to stop right now. But yeah, so I feel like maybe it's that like I can't for sure be like they're a terrible couple, but it also sounds childish and petty, like what's going on here. I've seen the whole, let's be specific, I've seen the whole, you know, presents being returned, thrown out, like that whole thing, and that sticks with me, and I don't think that's a good way to handle things. I think that is very disrespectful and saddening and not a good time. So that part bugs me. But yeah, that's kind of that's my thoughts, but there's something deeper going on here. It's not just the gift.
It's not, there's more to it.
And clearly now we're talking about a second grade person coming in. I'm scared that she's going to end up cheating and or maybe she has.
I feel like she's given a reason for him to for him to break it off. Maybe because she has done something or she's thinking about it and it's just so she can feel less.
And I will also say I've been there where if a relationship gets bad enough, and even if you're not like a cheater type, you start like looking at other people and you start like wondering, like, is it better if I leave this relationship, or is it, you know, like you start like going to that place. So I feel like she has just gone
But I'm great though, right?
He's looking at me like, who are you talking about? I'm not talking about our relationship specifically. But yeah, like I've been there where you kind of you get to a point where you're over it and you like you're like, okay, maybe someone else is better type thing. So I feel like maybe she's gotten to that point and she's just trying to find a way out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it being long distance is tricky, I feel
like,
for
too.
anyone.
I wonder why it got that way. Like, I wonder if it's school or a job or something, because they were together for a year.
School. I thought a good part.
I know, they're still young.
School. Yeah, especially being around 21, 22. It's
maybe.
You can make the assumption that it's probably school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would drop it like a hot potato. Like, peace. You go your way, I go mine. Give me that hot potato. Give me that money back from the Pandora bracelet though, because that costs like $100 probably.
I mean, after the charm, yeah. Because I think the bracelet itself, like a basic,
I want my money
back.
The
basic silver bracelet, I think now is like $65.
I want my money back.
And depends on what charm.
I can go on a couple dates with some new girls with that. Give my money back.
Couple new girls. Wow, look at him. He's ready.
Just saying, you bring him on like a. Actually, probably not. You probably went out on one date
for $100.
Well, close
it
to
depends what you do. Yeah,
you go out to eat.
Our
you go
first
to a
date
nice
was
little,
probably like that.
Exactly, my wallet was hurting. Shoot, I don't know if I was.
And you ended up tipping extra, and I was like, "Why are you doing that?" Remember that? You were like, "No, she'll just take it. It's fine, whatever." And I was like, "Why?" He like ended up doing like a 50% tip or something. Like, it was like $40 meal, and he ended up being like, here's an extra 20. And I was like, what?
I think that was either by accident or because I just didn't care.
You didn't care. Like, I even said, I was like, you realize that, like, and it was the first date, and I'm over here like, you realize that what you're given? And he's
baller.
like, it's okay. And I was like, okay.
I'm a big baller.
Man, that should have been my first tip at how our money thing would go.
Yo, you know the door's like right over here around the corner. You can just hit the door. Like, don't.
He's like, shut up.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
He a big spender over here. Look at that.
Still big balling. Working on my Tesla fund.
I said big spender. I did not say big baller.
What? I throw me under the bus. I hate you. Just wait. When I got my Tesla, you ain't going in. You're not taking a ride.
Oh my god.
You're not taking a ride in the whip.
So yeah.
For this, I would pretty much drop her. Go live your life. You're 22. You can find someone else that's not crazy.
Potato. I can't.
Wait, what?
Because you're like, drop her like a hot potato.
I would. Yeah. She sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I only like gifts that are sentimental when I'm.
I just wonder what's deeper there, because there's got to be something. It's never as surface level as a gift. Just like for me, it was for me, it was not as surface level as you not saying happy birthday. Like, it literally wasn't.
Women don't know how to talk.
No.
Ooh, I'm gonna
Do you want to get into this?
I'm gonna get.
We know how to talk. You don't know how to listen.
Ooh.
Snip, snip.
This is not some like poetry reading here. You're not just gonna go with the vibes and just start snapping your fingers. Yeah, that's. I would just cut your ties and find someone else. You're young. You can find someone that's not gonna be crazy and likes your sentimental gifts.
Yeah, like me. I love sentimental.
Yeah, you cheesy sucker.
If you think about it, that's kind of easier to do.
It is.
Yeah, you just think about like what's the stuff that like makes
just
my
Google
heart
it.
go mush.
You just Google it. Go on Amazon.
Okay, or like you can personalize it a little.
I do. I go on Amazon, personalized gifts, and you're able to type in the person's name, and it gives you like this freaking name thing. And
how did you find the necklace?
What necklace?
The missing necklace.
Instagram knows how to advertise to me.
That's true. I have seen it on Instagram and Facebook.
They know how to advertise to me so good. Like, they just know me. They're like, oh, you got a new iPhone? You want this case right here? I'm just like, shoot, it's tempting, but it's a company I'm not familiar with, so I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a little over an hour limit that we normally do.
You're welcome.
I think it's time to wrap this up and roll out. As always, yo, I'm totally up for it. So to give you guys a heads up, or not even a heads up, to let you guys know, Anchor rolled out the ability to be able to send voice messages through the app, through the website like version, all that stuff. Send us voice messages of whatever, shouting us out, saying you like the podcast, whatever you want, as long as it's not too crazy. Yeah, questions, topics you want us to talk about, and we will literally take that voice message that you send us and put it into the next podcast episode.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be so dope as another way to like interact with everyone. I'm up for doing. So definitely, hook us up with a voice message. Be on the next episode we got. With that being said, guys, as always, wait, real quick, before I even jump into the outro, rate us on iTunes. Would love that. Love and appreciate it. Rate us, as Lauren would say, 5 stars.
5 stars.
It's for you, Rado. Alright, so we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Once again, I'm Shadell, co-host of Page and the Simpsons, joined by my lovely fiance,
Lauren the bestest.
And we shall see you guys Friday.
Bye.
Peace.